2 years, and you know, all the money, and I was introduced to drugs. I was addicted to ecstasy pills. This was something I did every day, a lot, and more drinking, more drugs, because I couldn't be in a sober state doing what I was doing. I needed something. So now I'm on ecstasy, and I'm sniffing cocaine, and I'm drinking, but I thought it was cute because I was accepted by men, and I was accepted by even celebrity men, and I got to travel to different places that people dream to go to, and I got to hang out at the BET Awards and at the Grammy parties, and hang out at the best parties, and I thought that this was okay, and I like to travel, and I ended up in New York, and it's funny because I always wanted to go to New York all my life. This was the place that I dreamed of going, and when I finally got there, it wasn't what I expected. Yes. So I met a guy there who, it's a long story, so I'll just try to be as short as possible. He was cool the first week and a half. I had a great time. And then after that, he got upset because we went to a club, and he saw me talking to other guys, and it made him upset. And it made him so upset that, you know, he snatched me out of the club, and we started to argue, and he hit me. And see, I'm from the streets. You're not going to just hit me. We're going to fight. So we began to fight, and he told me to get out of his car. Now, I didn't have no friends or no family in New York. So my first mind was to just say, okay, even though he has my luggage, even though he has my things, I have enough money to go to the airport and come back home. So he put me out somewhere in Brooklyn or the Bronx, I don't know where I was at. And it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he told me to get out of his car, and I got out of his car, and I was waiting for a taxi, but he pulled up first, and he put me back in the car, and he told me, I'm gonna kill you. You will not leave New York. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. And I didn't really believe him too much until I pulled up to a house that I wasn't at before. He had me at a apartment somewhere in downtown Brooklyn, but this time we had an old, like, it looked kind of like an old abandoned house. And we got there, and he put me into a basement, and I kid you not, the basement wasn't no bigger than this stage. The stage might be a little bigger than the basement was, and he put me in the basement, and it wasn't no window. All it was an old mattress, and I stayed in this basement, and he began to beat me and rape me and do things to me. He was another man from the islands, and he even chanted over me. So he was doing voodoo. So I was like, okay. And I know that he was going to kill me. It was no doubt in my mind that he was going to take me out of here. But I remember saying, I can't go out like this. And I remember laying on the floor, and I prayed to God, and I said, if you get me out of this, I'll change my life. 2 days later, his friend came to the basement, and his friend saw me in the state that I was in, and he opened the door. The guy was gone. I don't know where he was at. He opened the door, called me a cab, and I left. So I'm out of the basement at this point, but where was I going to go? Now, I had flew to New York to get money, dancing, and to do some movies. So I had remembered the porn director that was out there. So I called him, and he said, okay, I'll come get you. And you can stay with me and, you know, get you some money so you can get back home. And he acted as if he wanted to help me. And picks me up, and we get back to this nice, beautiful house in Yonkers, and he portrayed to be my friend, and he was going to help me and all this stuff. So that wasn't the case. He was going to help me only if I was willing to do what he wanted me to do sexually. I literally became a sex slave in order for me to stay at his house, in order for me to eat, in order for me to do anything. I had to perform sexual acts and disgusting things that I really, even being in the porn industry, I wasn't used to doing, and I did this because I had nowhere else to go. I had no other options. But now I know that Jesus was my option, but I didn't know that then. All I know was that I went from the basement to another place, and now I'm being used and abused sexually. And I prayed again, and I said, Lord, what's going on? It went from one bad thing to another. I thought, we had an understanding. I thought, everything was going to be okay. But see, God had to turn it up a notch. See, some people have to go through traumatic situations for them to wake up, and that was me, because when I went to New York, I was just getting started. Well, if I would have left New York, I would still be doing what I was doing then. If I had not went through what I went through there, I would still be doing what I was doing. I would still be in the industry. I would still be dancing. I would still be on drugs. So God had to allow these things to happen to me for me to wake up. But I didn't know that then. And so I prayed again, and I said, can you get me out of this? And a guy that I had met at the club, I had remembered his phone number, and I called him, and he asked, I told him, could he come get me? And he came and got me. So I'm thinking I'm saved, I'm rescued. No, he too was crazy. He wined and dined me the first 2 days, 2 or 3 days. And he took me out to eat, and he took me shopping, and he made me feel all nice and told me he had my back. But after the 3rd day, I guess he felt that it was time for him to have sex, and I wasn't in the mood to do that. I wasn't in the condition to do it, but he didn't care. And so this man, now mind you, with these heels off, I'm 4'11", and this man was about 6'8", 300 pounds. This was a big guy, and he would beat me. Now, I've been beat by men really bad, and to the point where my father disfigured my face, but this type of beating I had never went through. He picked up skillets, and he hit me in my head with skillets, and he beat me with my own stilettos, and he beat me with his fist, and he threw me through tables, and I'm going through this for every day for a week straight. And at this point, I gave up on life. I gave up on everything, and I had accepted death. I accepted it. I said, okay, well, this is the 3rd time, and okay, I'm supposed to die. But I didn't. I had remembered that I had a friend in New Jersey. He wasn't even a friend. He was a guy that I went out on a date with, and I knew he lived in New Jersey. And I called. I tried to make up these numbers in my head, and I dialed these numbers, and I think the 4th or 5th time I dialed, he picked up the phone, and I told him what was going on, what was happening with me. And he told me, he said, I don't have a car, but if you get to me, I'll take care of the rest. And I said, that sounds good, but how am I get past this this big dude? It's no way for me to leave him. How? I don't have no money. I'm busted up. I'm bruised up. How am I gonna get past him? And I had to do what I had to do, and we had an altercation. And let's just say I got